African women were at the center of pop music in 2024, where will they go in 2025? Late last year, I hopped on a train from Philadelphia to Washington, D.C., to see a living legend perform with the National Symphony Orchestra at the Kennedy Center. Angelique Kidjo, 64, the Beninese musician, is Africa's most well-known global artist. She's won 5 Grammys and been nominated 15 times and has toured the world several times over. Time called her Africa's premier diva. In 2007, NPR described her in 2013 as Africa's greatest living diva. Late last year, I hopped on a train from Philadelphia to Washington, D.C., to see a living legend perform with the National Symphony Orchestra at the Kennedy Center. Angelique Kidjo, 64, the Beninese musician, is Africa's most well-known global artist. She's won 5 Grammys and been nominated 15 times and has toured the world several times over. Time called her Africa's premier diva. In 2007, NPR described her in 2013 as Africa's greatest living diva. When it comes to popularizing African sounds and culture, you used to be able to look just to Kidjo and a handful of other artists. In 2024, Kidjo was in good company. Thinking back on the biggest cultural moments of 2024, it's hard to ignore the many African women who were at the center of it all, from the Grammys to the Met Gala and the Olympics. Just a few highlights. In February, Tyla took home the first Best African Music Performance Grammy for her viral pop hit, Water. At the Met Gala 3 months later, she turned heads when she arrived in a custom Balmain dress that transformed her into a sand sculpture. After working with Rihanna, Beyoncé, and Drake, Tems dropped her long-awaited soulful debut album Born in the Wild. At the Olympics, Aya Nakamura, who was born in Mali and raised in France, took center stage for the opening ceremony. Ira Star, who sings in English, Yoruba, Nigerian Pidgin, and French, dropped her sophomore album, before going on to dominate the festival circuit all summer. The catchy rhythms popularized most by Burna Boy, Wizkid, and Davido. Though some women succeeded, including Queen of Afrobeats, Tiwa Savage, the genre was dominated by men. In recent years, a new crop of female artists has emerged, and with them, a mix of sounds, from Star's pop sound to Tems's sultry R&B adjacent sounds, to Tyla's clubby amapiano. Their ascendance in pop culture reminded us that there is no one way to sound or be African. Kidjo's been in the industry for 40 years, but she burst onto the global stage when she released her first international album, Perico, 35 years ago. That night at the Kennedy Center, in an auditorium packed with people of all ages, races, and nationalities, she did what she's done for decades. She showed the richness and vastness of African music, singing music from her own catalog and covering artists including Fela Kuti, Miriam Makeba, and Burna Boy. As I watched her float across the stage, seamlessly weaving her way through half a century of African music from across the continent, I was amazed by how comprehensively she delivered a lesson in the depth of African music and culture.